On September 11, 2001, at 8:45 a.m., on a clear Tuesday morning, an American airline Boeing 767 loaded with 20,000 gallons of jet fuel crashed into the North Tower of the Trade Center in New York City. The impact left a gaping, burning hole near the 80th floor of the 110th-story skyscraper, instantly killing hundreds of people and trapping hundreds more in higher floors. As the evacuation of the tower and its twin got underway, television cameras broadcasted live images of what initially appeared to be a freak accident.
Here in New York, I'm Brian Gumble. We understand that there has been a plane crash on the southern tip of Manhattan. You're looking at the World Trade Center. We understand that a plane has crashed into the World Trade Center.
Then, at 9:03, 18 minutes after the first plane hit, a second Boeing 767 United Airlines flight 175 appeared out of the sky, turned sharply towards the World Trade Center, and sliced into the South Tower near the 60th floor. The collision caused a massive explosion and showered burning debris over surrounding buildings and onto the streets below. It immediately became clear that America was under attack.
As millions watched the events unfolding in New York, American Airlines Flight 77 circled over downtown Washington, D.C., before crashing over the west side of the Pentagon military headquarters at 9:45 a.m. Jet fuel from the Boeing 757 caused a devastating inferno that led to the structural collapse of a portion of the giant concrete building, which is the headquarters of the U.S. Department of Defense. All told, 125 military personnel and civilians were killed in the Pentagon, along with all 64 people aboard the airliner.
Less than 15 minutes after the terror struck the nerve center of the U.S. military, the horror in New York took a catastrophic turn when the South Tower of the World Trade Center collapsed in a massive cloud of dust and smoke. The structural steel of the skyscraper, built to withstand winds in excess of 200 miles per hour and a large conventional fire, could not withstand the tremendous heat generated by the burning jet fuel. At 10:30 a.m., the north building of the Twin Towers collapsed. Only 6 people in the World Trade Center towers at the time of their collapse survived. Almost 10,000 others were treated for their injuries, many severe.
Meanwhile, a 4th California-bound plane, United Flight 93, was hijacked about 40 minutes after leaving Newark Liberty International Airport in New Jersey. Because the plane has been delayed and taken off, passengers on board learned of the event in New York and Washington via cell phone and airphone calls to the ground. Knowing that the aircraft was not returning to the airport as the hijackers claimed, a group of passengers and flight attendants planned an insurrection. One of the passengers, Simon Burnett Jr., told his wife over the phone that, "I know we're going to die. There's 3 of us and we're going to do something about it. I love you, honey." Another passenger, Tom Beamer, was heard saying, "Are you guys ready? Let's roll," over an open line.
Sandy Bradshaw, a flight attendant, called her husband and explained that she had slipped into a galley and was filling pitchers with boiling water. Her last words to him were, "Everyone's running to first class. I've got to go. Bye." The passengers fought the 4 hijackers and are suspected to have attacked the cockpit with a fire extinguisher. The plane then flipped over and sped towards the ground at upwards of 500 miles per hour, crashing in a rural field near Shanksville in western Pennsylvania at 10:10 a.m.
A total of 2,996 people were killed in the 9/11 attacks, including the 19 terrorist hijackers aboard the 4 airplanes. Citizens of the 78 countries died in New York, Washington, D.C., and Pennsylvania. At the World Trade Center, 2,763 died after the 2 planes slammed into the Twin Towers. That figure includes 343 firefighters and paramedics, 23 New York City police officers, and 37 Port Authority police officers who were struggling to complete an evacuation of the buildings and save the office workers trapped on the high floors. At the Pentagon, 189 people were killed, including 64 on American Airlines Flight 77, the airline that had struck the building. On Flight 93, 44 people died when the plane crash landed in Pennsylvania.
Shock, sadness, fear, anger. The 9/11 attacks inflicted a devastating emotional toll on Americans, as well as the world. In the days and weeks after 9/11, we tried to come to terms with what happened. And while the smoke was still drifting over the piles of rubble, we seemed to come to a collective realization. We didn't only bear witness to a tragedy, we didn't only mourn the loss of life, we took it personally. It wasn't just an attack on our institutions. It wasn't just an attack on the United States. It was an attack on democracy, on our way of life, on what we collectively stood for as a human race. And in that realization, we came together, and we would face this tragedy, one nation, one world, indivisible.
We realized, perhaps for the first time in generations, that we stood for something more than ourselves as individuals. More than about getting ahead for our own ends, right now, we are a nation in conflict, and in many cases, chaos. We are reeling from racial injustice, sharp political division, and an overwhelming and deadly health crisis for which there appears to be no end in sight. If we wish to honor the victims and heroes of September 11th on the 20th anniversary of this tragedy, we could do no less than remember that when everything seems to be coming apart, we respond by coming together.